What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I am very excited. The reason I am so excited is because we finally have news of release date, product lineup, and a whole bunch more of the Gundam Card Game. I have made no secret on this channel about my love for the Gundam Card Game. I think it's going to be brilliant. And I've made a few videos about it so far. There hasn't been enough news to make too many videos. I assure you, we're going to be ramping up as we get closer to release. Speaking of which, we do now have a proper release date. We are getting a simultaneous worldwide release in July, which is fun. It'll give us something to do over the summer. This is shaping up to be awesome. Now, we're doing what we often do with Bandai card games, and that is we are starting off with starter decks. There are going to be 4 starter decks, which again is pretty standard for Bandai card games. They're going to be released 2 weeks before the first booster set on July the 11th, 2025, retailing for $11.99. If you have been following Digimon or One Piece, other Bandai card games, all of this is going to sound familiar. Starting with 4 starter decks, releasing them a bit before the first set, charging $12. This is all stuff you should be coming to, well, expect. And, you know, I'm using some of the images here from the official Twitter. You'll notice they've literally got dual Japanese and English reveals here in terms of the text on the marketing images, because it's a worldwide release, which honestly makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not sure whether I should go Japanese or English. I like collecting Japanese cards. It's helping my Japanese learning. Am I going to be allowed to play with Japanese cards in Europe? Judging by other Bandai card games, the answer is probably no, so I should probably just grow up and buy the English versions. Point is, there's 4 starter decks, and these look awesome. Now, we have been given a bit of information on the official website, and frankly, I am not a Gundam expert. I'm sorry. I wish I was. I knew nothing about One Piece when I started covering that game. And, well, I know quite a lot now. So I'm hoping that over time, I'm going to become an expert. And that will be lovely. But for now, I'm going to have to go with a lot of what we're told on the website. But the good news is we have a bunch of information on the website. And, of course, I'm going to learn as we go along. And it's going to be lovely. So the first starter deck here is Heroic Beginnings, and the featured series here are Mobile Suit Gundam and The Witch from Mercury. That's what we've got as featured series here. We're told this on all of them, basically going, hey, this is what we've got. Oh, as a side note, it's exactly the same for all the starter decks, so I'm only going to show you once. But this is your little blurb, comes out on July the 11th. MSRP is $11.99, and for your $11.99 you get yourself a ready-to-play 50-card deck, 10 resource cards, 8 token cards, a paper damage counter, 2 rule and play sheets, and a bonus pack. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's all pretty standard, except for the bonus pack. Now, we've had these in One Piece. Now, if I missed something here, please let me know in the comment section. But I've not seen anything about a Gundam bonus pack in terms of what they are and what cards are included therein. And I've been having a good search around this morning. I can't seem to find any information. If we assume it's like One Piece basically gives alternate art versions, not even really alternate art, alternate finish versions of cards that are in the deck. So we got them with starter deck 13 initially, and we had what I call monochrome versions of some of the cards, although they do have color highlights, but just bear with me, right? Whereas over in starter deck 21, which they've just had over in Japan, the one leader card was like that. But most of them look more like this. They took the border off and they basically made them into full art cards. And they look kind of fancy, and that's rather lovely. I can't tell you for certain one way or the other, but based on what we've seen from One Piece, which is another Bandai card game, I think that's a fair assumption. I think that's roughly what we're going to get. As always, we'll have to wait and see down the line. Now, in terms of the other starter decks, we can go through these a little bit quicker because it's a lot of the same kind of stuff. Starter deck 2 is Wings of Advance, and that is going to have, as your featured series, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. That's it. That's all they say. Sorry about that. Feel free to be upset. It's not really very much we can do about it. But yeah, it looks cool. I like it. I'm sure Mobile Suit Gundam Wing is awesome. Starter deck 3 is Zeon's Rush. And I'm loving the key art that we're being given for all of these here. It just looks cool. Makes me excited for Gundam. And then the featured series here are Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn and Mobile Suit Gundam. You might be seeing some patterns here. And then the fourth starter deck is Seed Strike. And this is going to be having the featured series of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Cool. Sounds good to me. And the good news is this is kind of giving me a bit of a reading list. Seeing what's featured in these starter decks, I've got till July, so I can go and start getting my Gundam on and learning more about this. So when it launches in July, I am better equipped to talk about all things Gundam. Not just the cards, but Gundam as a whole. These starter decks are going to be good. We've got a couple of weeks where we can play with just these, but then we get to Booster Pack GD01 New Type Rising. And this is going to be the big one because this is like our first look at actual booster packs. And again, we have a lot of questions here, but we can have a look at, say, the beta edition. And if we have a look at the beta edition, we can look and say, well, we know about a lot of these alternate art cards. You know, if we have a look at, well, this pair here, we can see the same card, but now we've got different, well, a different finish is probably the best way to put it. We got different artwork, but it's not just artwork. It's also your foil, your texturing, things along those lines. It is a very different kind of proposition. Same card, different art and foiling and texturing and all of that. This is what we've been taught to expect from Bandai. And we can see this with Sweat Mercury as well, one of the pilot cards. This is the kind of thing we're going to be seeing as we go through. And I love this. It is one of my favorite things about Gundam card games is the fact that they don't muck about when it comes to alternate arts and fancy cards. They are giving us fancy versions of cards. And they're going alternate art, and they're going for foiling, they're going for texturing. Outside of Pokemon, there aren't really many companies at all that are going for this. Every card game has special kinds of cards, don't get me wrong. But one thing that Bandai does so wonderfully is that they really go above and beyond in terms of actually going for foiling and texturing and different finishes of cards in a way that most card game companies don't. And this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Seriously, if you're a fan of Gundam, you are going to end up collecting these cards. They're too cool not to end up going and collecting. It really is as simple as that. So what are we told about our first booster pack set then? Well, it's getting released on the 25th of July, which, like I've said, we're talking 2 weeks after the release of the starter decks. Get a couple weeks in with the starter decks and then go from there. And we know that it is going to be called New Type Rising. Now, in terms of the basics here, it's going to be $5 a pack. In 2025, that is standard and honestly cheaper than some games. It's going to be 12 cards a pack. And that's pretty much all we're told. All of this sounds basically about right. This is all pretty standard, honestly. Again, if you've been playing Bandai card games, collecting Bandai card games, all of this is going to make you go, yeah, all right. That's a standard Bandai card game. In terms of pull rates, I'm expecting there will be 7 super rare per booster box. Well, that's what we get with One Piece. Actually, 8 in Fusion World, the Dragon Ball new game. But either way, you get like 7 super rares and 2 to 3 hits per box. It's very generous in that regard. I would expect a very similar thing here with Gundam. I can't promise, obviously, but that's what I'm expecting. And if we have a look at the featured series here, you might notice it's basically what we see from the starter decks. Mobile Suit Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, and Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. It's what we saw in the starter decks. Although, and again, I don't think this has been actually officially confirmed. As always, please correct me in the comment section if it has. But the way Bandai card games tend to work, I'm looking at Digimon, I'm looking at One Piece and all of that, they have exclusive cards in the starter decks. By which I mean, outside of exceptions in special decks, all of the starter deck cards are unique to the starter decks, and all of the booster set cards are exclusive to booster sets. We don't see crossover like we do in games like Pokemon and Lorcana. And given that this is a Bandai game, expect it to work like a Bandai game, which makes it even more exciting. Also, as a side note, it probably means you'll have to buy 2 of each starter deck. The way it works in things like One Piece and Digimon, they have exclusive cards, but some of them only come as like 2-ofs, so you do need to buy 2 of every starter deck to have a playset of every starter deck card. That is, frankly, a little bit annoying, and I understand not everybody loves that. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But do you want something really cool? How about Gundam models? There are second versions of the starter decks that cost $35, but they come with Gundam Assemble models. That's absurd. I don't know why they're doing this, but I adore that they are doing this. I think this is wonderful. And I'm probably going to buy them. Even though I don't know much about miniature games and I don't paint miniatures, I'm still probably going to get sucked into this because they look awesome. Basically, it's the same starter decks that we've had before. They're the exact same starter decks that I showed you a minute ago. The difference here is they come with models. Now again, I don't believe they've actually told us how many models they come with. This, what I'm showing you on the screen here from the official site, really seems to suggest it's 2 per deck. But it just says include miniature-sized Gunpla. Gundam Assembler miniature-sized Gunpla require assembly by the user, can be placed on token cards when playing the Gundam Card Game. The regular set doesn't include the miniatures. I don't know. And if you follow the link to the Gundam Assemble website, it doesn't actually tell you there either. Gives you a bit more information about them and look how cool they look, but it doesn't actually tell you what comes in the starter deck. And actually, this Gundam miniature game isn't out yet, so we don't even know a huge amount in that regard. There are many questions we have here, okay? But it seems like they're really going for the cross-promotion with the Gundam Card Game and the Gundam Miniature Game, and that honestly sounds good to me. I'm alright with this. I think I might try and convince my wife and a couple of my friends to try and play the Gundam Miniature Game, because I kind of want to, and then it means I can buy the fancy starter decks. The only other thing you need to know is that there are going to be official accessories, including sleeves and deck boxes. Card case means deck box. And damage counter dice. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to spoil it. At some point, there's going to be playmats as well. Doesn't say it on the website. There's going to be playmats. There's always playmats. So, look forward to that. I can't tell you much here. We've not been given any images, so it's one of those we'll learn more when we get their deals. But I'm so excited about this game. We talked before about the rules, and that's super exciting. I've shown you these alternate art cards, etc., and that's very exciting. But it's a game that Bandai are taking really seriously. Worldwide simultaneous release, great for fans of the game. Having 4 starter decks and then 2 weeks later the first booster set, this has proven to work and is awesome. The tie-in with the miniature game, I don't think is needed, but I do think is wonderful. And then round and round we go, basically. This looks awesome. I'm very excited, but I want to know what you think. Tell me how excited you are for Gundam. Tell me what you're looking forward to. Tell me any concerns and hopes you have. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Gundam and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.